bro, can you just stop and acknowledge your growth? And that shit had me just like tearing up, like, wow, like I never stop. Like I'm always
Yeah,
on go,
because you're always focused on
always focused on getting to
improving
the
and
next
getting better and
thing.
getting better. Yeah.
I feel so good, so good. G-O-W-D, G-O-W-D, good.
What's up, everybody? It is your brother, your sister, your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your uncle, your grandma, your granddaddy, and your favorite cousin on your daddy's side, Jay Pleasant, and welcome to the Jay Pleasant Show. Again, today I have a songwriter, an artist, a musician, a producer, a creative. Give it up for Blaze one more time, everybody. Okay, so we already, got the ice broken a little bit. So let's go ahead and dive into you. Take me back to the very beginning, when you were first introduced to music and it sparked an interest to you. When was that moment? How was that moment for you?
Wow, that first spark of interest to play music or just love music in general.
Love music in general.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie, growing up as a kid, my first super fan was Michael Jackson. My parents were
Mm.
pretty older than normal parents, so I grew up with just 90s R&B, 80s tracks. So my mom had gave me my first album, it was Michael Jackson, his top 10 number one. So all his number one songs,
Hmm.
10 songs. And I played that album like on repeat. I was in that mirror sweating, dancing, like just enjoying the music to the fullest. I'm talking about I was a super Michael Jackson fan. Mine
Hmm.
just 2007. He's already at the end of his career, but yeah, I got put on late. So I was like, he was my first spark of like, wow, this music thing is something serious. I love it. It's like my
Right.
happy. That was like kids went outside and played sports. I was in the house just dancing,
Listening
performing,
to music, yeah.
entertaining my
Yeah,
grandma.
so you got the top 10 number one song, I mean CD by Michael Jackson. From there, what did you do then to, I guess, to chase your dream of becoming a creative?
Okay. I would say that he was my first spark of loving music in general. So then, I
Hmm.
just kept digging and deep in. I just loved old school music growing up. I just loved it. The Gap Band, Prince. I just love all these songs. So like you hear songs enough, you hear the instruments. Oh, this drum sound good. These pianos sound so good. I'm curious about, if
Yeah.
I could play that. And the first instrument I tried to play was guitar. I wanted to be a guitar player, real nice and smooth. So I had like a little kid guitar, but I wasn't patient enough to learn the instrument. I was still too
Hmm.
young, too impatient. So I put the guitar down and I went to like did baseball, did basketball, typical boy stuff, just thinking that maybe I didn't have good music taste. But I went to my friend's house, Trey, in about fifth grade, sixth grade. And my friend Trey had a home studio in his house. And him and his dad,
Hmm.
would create beats and things. So that was my first exposure to seeing music actually like being made and not just heard. I'll actually watch them, play instruments and create beats. And that was my first spark of like, oh yeah, that's cool as hell. I got to do that.
Hmm.
Shout out to them for giving me that,
Hmm.
like the first creative process I've ever saw of music being made.
Right. So from there, did you were you the type of kid that want to, keep going back over to your friend's house to see that
Sure.
thing happen?
Oh, for sure.
So what was your were you able to have like your first, recording experience as, yourself with them as well? Or
I was, yeah.
really? Tell me about that.
Oh man, so I say the first track I ever did, Mr. Murray is his name. That's my friend's name. Mr. Murray had a home studio. We were in the eighth grade. So I was in the eighth grade band, I played drums. So I was already into like my start of my loving for passion of it. So I was the top one drummer in the class, very competitive. And I went over to his house one day and I had an idea of a marching band song that I wanted to create. And I called Trey, came to his house, and Mr. Murray helped me make my first track, my first beat in his studio. And then he gave me actually finished the beat with me. Then he gave me a CD before I left so I could like bump it when I got home. So man, I
Hmm.
had my first beat experience at his house, my first full track. It was a full marching band arrangement. It's pretty good for like a eighth grade. It was a full marching band arrangement. And I still got the CD to this day. And I still like just a gem to keep.
Wow. That's dope. That's dope. So from there, tell us about how Blaze came about and how, you got your stage presence, Blaze. Tell us about that process.
Well, man, it was a long ass process. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. Sorry, it was a long
No, you
process.
good. You good. It's my show.
Long
Shit.
process.
You good.
Man, so honestly, I say the full Blaze brand came during COVID, honestly. During that isolation time where, I was just me and my dog by myself, trying to stay out the way. And I really just had time to self-reflect on myself. I just graduated college and, I was a music major, so wasn't nobody knock on the door for job opportunities. So I'm just doing
Right.
hustle jobs on the side, just trying to figure out who I am and what my purpose is in life. And so one day during the COVID thing, I've been making music, been producing, been writing songs, but how can I make this, legit, something that I'm comfortable with? Because I've tried so many different names, tried my government name, I tried E-Blaze, different things, but I knew it wasn't the
Hmm.
right one. And then one day I'm playing the video game, listening to my music, and I feel like the spirit just told me, he said, boom, this is it. So I stopped what I was doing, I wrote it down, and then from there, I just keep going, keep pushing. So I think that COVID
Hmm.
isolation time was a beautiful time for me to just reflect, no distractions, just focus on myself and my purpose too.
Hmm. So did it start off as wanting to, rap and sing and make music that way, or was it just you producing things?
Right. It started off with me wanting to just produce, be in the cut. I didn't want too much attention
Hmm.
on me. It's about the music and not the visuals. So I also was kind of like I like self-esteem. I had self-esteem. I didn't want to be in the spotlight too much. I'd rather just sit back, make the beats
Hmm.
and let y'all, put stuff on top of them. But I was sleeping on myself as far as, how good of a
Hmm.
writer I've been. Because I mean, I was writing in middle school, high school, I had awards for my writing. I was pretty good at writing, but I was
Right.
just nervous about being accepted as an artist. Because it's so easy to just be in the back, make a beat and, just be nice in the background, no eyes on you. But, like I said, the
Right.
progressed and progressing. I say, I'm just gonna try it, see what happens. The worst that can happen is I fail, and I'm not afraid of failure anymore. So it started off
Hmm.
just producing, like working with Tamia and Chrétien, beautiful experience. Working on Tamia's album, beautiful experience. Just watching her in her element. And I still am a producer. I still make music for other people, but there's also room to have your own voice. You have to have your own voice. As far as rap music, I'm a big rap fan, and I'm disappointed with the rap messages that I hear all the time. So it's like, yeah, I can
Hmm.
complain about it, or I can, make my own avenue, make my own lane. So that's when I started
Hmm.
trying out the rap, trying out, the songstry, being out in the front. And I think I want to have a good balance of both, still produce, work with artists, and then have my own time to shine too.
Right. So how did you find your sound when it comes to you making your own music, rapping and things of that nature?
That's a good question. I think that, you just have to just trial and error. You have to explore, I believe. I was very curious. I never was tied down to one genre, but I will say that neo soul is like my starter. That's the starter kit. That neo soul,
Hmm.
Erykah Badu, like that's my frequency. So I feel like if this song, I feel like me, I'm a Erykah Badu, Mac Miller, Snoop Dogg, these are all inspirations that kind of
Hmm.
push that smooth sounding, but still, like I love smooth. I'll just say that smooth sound, like that neo soul piano, that smooth
Yeah.
drum. That's really my mid-tempo chill, because I think that's my personality. I'm not very extra on top. I'm very laid back, chill,
Very
with
chill. Yeah.
punchlines in between. So I think just learning about myself, because it takes time to learn about yourself. Outside of
Yeah.
who you are with relationships and friendships, who are you without those things to associate you?
Hmm.
So once I had the isolation time, I think I just realized that growing up, that smooth neo soul, that's like my favorite thing to listen to. So I'm gonna make music that I enjoy listening to in a short way.
Right. So you finding your sound that way, how did you find ways to make sure, you practice your craft so that you wasn't, being stagnant with, your flow and even with your producing skills?
Right. That's a great question because I think I still suffer with discipline as far as with
Hmm.
the craft, because I feel like on one hand, as a creative, you should create when it comes to you, like don't force it, just create it when it feels right,
Right.
the energy's good. But on the other hand, it's like basketball, you got to keep your shots up, you got to stay
You got to
working,
be consistent. Yeah.
got to be consistent. So I'm still working on that balance. But I would say I love competition. I'm a competitive person. So seeing Chrétien drop an album, oh, that's my dog. I love Chrétien. But that
Mm-hmm.
sounds great. I gotta step my game up, you know. I gotta keep
Right.
seeing my friends like make good music and seeing other people make good music. It makes me want to just keep getting better and better because it's all about competition. Still to me, I'm very
Right. Right. So did it ever become a comparison thing for you? I know because it's different to, to have a friendly competition and, have your own lane and things. But did it ever become a comparison? Like, oh, did you ever find yourself only doing things because certain people were only doing it? Or was it just like you said, just like a friendly competition?
oh, well, just me and Chrétien in general, me and Chrétien or just in general.
Or like in general?
Yeah, I would say we could lie and say we don't compare each other, but we're humans and like we're 20 and we grew up in social media. Like this is the age of
Mm-hmm.
gonna compare things, but you know, you have to kind of block out those thoughts in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you compare yourself to other people, you'll never be happy in your progress. So I think I have compared before, and I feel like, you know, it's natural to compare, especially with music and things like, oh, this sounds like this, or I want a song like this. So I think comparison can be healthy, but it's very important
Mm-hmm.
to like block out those thoughts. I feel like because we all have those thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
but blocking it out and just like stepping back and look in the mirror, like look at your growth, look at what you've done, you know. And we're all running our own race in a sense too. And I tell myself every day, I write it down. You're running your own race. You're running your own race.
Mm-hmm.
So because comparing
Yeah, I
yourself,
feel like that's
it can
go
hurt.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
The comparison can
Yeah.
hurt, you know.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes comparing yourself is a little important because I feel like if I'm an artist, if I'm a creative, and I see that if I see that you drop something and it's good, it's great, it's amazing, and I know that what I'm putting out isn't up to the caliber of what I'm hearing, and I'm going to compare, me myself as an artist, I would want to strive to reach your level of productivity. You get what I'm saying? So
I
I feel
do.
like sometimes comparing yourself to other artists and compare yourself to other creatives can push you to be better. But like you said, it's important to, I guess, block out that negative side of it,
Mhm.
so that you won't, compare yourself too much so that you won't mimic them. It's different when you're trying to mimic that artist versus when you're trying to push yourself to be a better to push yourself to be the best you that you can be. You get what I'm saying?
I
So
do.
yeah, that's real. I respect that for sure. So I know you do play instruments. How many instruments do you play?
So, I mean, I always tell people this. I play two instruments professionally. Like I
Mm-hmm.
pay to make those. So I first was a drummer. That's my first instrument. That's my first love. I'm bad as hell on drums. I can talk my
Mm-hmm.
trash. Then after drums, I got into piano. That's one of my favorite instruments too. So drums and piano are my two main instruments. You're gonna see me on stage playing drums and piano. And I can
Mm-hmm.
play saxophone. I play saxophone. I'm pretty good at saxophone. And I also picked up the guitar about a couple of years ago. So now I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
get my guitar bag going up. So I would say about three or four. But you know, if you want to count all the percussion instruments, then that's a super long list, you know, as far as the
Right.
marching band instruments, concert instruments, the orchestra instruments. I did all that during school. So a lot of instruments, but I
Mm-hmm.
would say drums and piano, that's my two main babies for sure.
Right. Are there any instruments that you would like to learn aside from those?
Of course. I'm gonna learn them all eventually. Like how could you never learn them all? Like I want to learn
Mm-hmm.
violin next. I have a violin. I thought it was gonna be easy. I thought I could just pick that thing up and just do the motions, but no sir.
Right.
It's not that simple. So it just like I said, it's about patience. You gotta be patient enough to want to learn the instrument. So eventually I'll
Yeah.
play I'll play everything eventually. When I'm an old man, I'll be a badass old man for sure.
That's real. So, speaking of instruments, are there any, niches that you listen for when it comes to listening to music? So whether it be the instrumentals, whether it be the vocal stacking, the riffs, the runs, the musicality and things of that nature, is there anything specific that you listen to when it comes to music?
Yeah, I honestly, it's funny. The first thing I hear when I hear a song, I never hear the lyrics. I never hear words in music my first listen. I always hear the kick drum, what the bass drums doing, and
Mm-hmm.
the chords and the harmonies. We love some good background vocals. Give us good background vocals,
Mm-hmm.
those oohs and the harmonies. That's my first go-to. And then maybe the third listen in, I could tap into the lyrics. But my first ears, like especially drums and just harmony. Harmony is such a beautiful thing.
So with that being said, what do you have a artist, a favorite artist of yours that I guess embodies all of that you still listen to this day?
Oh, Erykah Badu for sure. That's probably my favorite
That's
artist
a
of all
great
time.
answer.
All time favorite artist for sure.
No, that's a great answer. And it's because of, the harmonies and, the structure of everything.
Well, I mean, Miss Badu has it all. It's the smooth harmonies, it's the hip hop drums, and it's
Hmm.
also the vocal style singing. Like, come on, jazz vocals. And then yeah, it's just the jazz vocal, and
Hmm.
then the writing. And then she's a rebel with the pen. Like she's against the grain, like not too cute to say what she wanna say. And I respect that, No fear.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what's a song of hers that's been on repeat for you recently then?
As of her song of Erykah
Hmm.
Badu. I played this for my kids this week at school. I played it's called Ode to Hip Hop Loving My Life. The one with her and
I think
Common.
I've heard that one before. Yeah, with
Loving
her coming, right? Yeah.
you, my friend. I play that for my kids all week. So that's been on repeat all week because I teach class every day. So every morning they
Hmm.
hear that song first to get the groove started.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay, so switching gears a little bit. So what does your creative process look like when it comes to you creating a piece for someone else or even, creating something for yourself? What does that look like?
Creative process. I would say that I don't have one process, but I think that
Hmm.
I found things that make me more productive. So first, when it comes to songwriting, let's say I already have a track done and I want to write something to it. My process is taking my dog out. We go to the trail and we just walk for a long time on the trail with the beat playing. And I've done like three great songs just walking my dog and writing as we walk. Just being outside kind of
Hmm.
just puts me in a different mindset. And I love to write music outside. So it's very rare that I'm in the studio like writing music for sure. As
Hmm.
far as songwriting process. And producing, I would say I'm starting to enjoy working with other people more too. I used to be such an isolated producer. Like I'm in my dorm room. I'm in the family villages, door closed, lights off, like nobody's disturbing me. But now that I have like,
Right.
people to help create, that kind of just gives a whole new chapter of my music catalog, just collabing. So now for the past couple of months, I like to like invite the homies over, invite people over, have a nice little session, nice little kickback, and then they're all musicians, so then we're gonna jam anyway. And then
Hmm.
whatever comes from the jam session, will help spark something. Either like when they leave, I'll create something right after they leave, or we'll create something on the spot. And that's been my process right now, just being real collaborative with people. But as far as by myself, you just never know. Sometimes I'm driving home from work, something comes in my head, pull out the voice memos, something, 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 and
Right.
then when I get home later, I fill it out. So I think just
Right.
walking for songwriting, jamming with musicians, and just like being spontaneous with it.
Right. 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 So or is there a song of yours that you performed or created that you would consider to be like one of your favorites or your baby or something that you hold close to you?
Yeah. I think, I don't think I have a favorite song of mine just yet. I feel like I haven't made my favorite song yet. But
Hmm.
performing wise, I'm really excited about my song Free Your Mind. Free Your Mind's a very
Hmm.
it's very nice, smooth. It's very smooth, like smooth and conscious, conscious pen, nice smooth neo soul performance. And I feel like
Hmm.
when I play that, like I can just feel the room get really warm, nice and warm. But I will also say my
Hmm.
song Dance With Me. That's my like dance hall Afrobeat record. That's my favorite song to perform right now. Every
Hmm.
time I perform it, I get some play. It's always gonna be, some people in the crowd that interact with me. It's been a great performance song so far. So my
Yeah.
next, I'm gonna do those two songs for my next shows for sure. Those are my two babies right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about for you. Let's actually talk about the Eternal Flame as an album.
Mhm.
What made you create that? Like, what was the thought process behind the Eternal Flame?
Wow, beautiful question. I know the exact day it was. I was in Seminole Grand, if y'all know about Seminole Grand. In
Do.
Seminole Grand, late night. I think, last couple semesters of school, just not knowing what's going on next. but I knew that in the moment I had something to say. I had so much to say. And just about, where we are as a country, where we are as a people, but mostly where we are as a culture and music. And I just felt like, as a culture and music, I was unhappy with all the sounds, and I felt like I could contribute something to the culture,
Mm-hmm.
especially hip hop culture. Because mind you, I wouldn't call myself a rapper. Yes, I can write. I can rap really good. I can spit for you. I got a nice tone, but I'm so much more than that. But I felt like for that
Right.
album, I had to prove to myself and prove to my peers that, when it comes to like rap music, rap like good music, like good production, rap music with the message, but also smooth. Like it was a perfect time for it. And I feel like I had a spark. I
Right.
just honestly I also was that George Floyd protest in Tally. That was like the first day where I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's where I wrote my first verse for the album after going to that protest, just being in that environment. And also felt like the protest just felt kind of like just like for show. Like y'all just there to take pictures and just say that y'all were there. It didn't feel genuine. And I was upset with like just what are we doing with the problems that we are facing? Are we doing enough? Or
Mm-hmm.
are we just mimicking what we think is the right thing? And everybody was just bragging on social media. So that kind of had me not angry, but just filled up to get some stuff
Yeah.
chest. And mind you, COVID happened, so I had plenty of time to just sit down and get those things out, no distractions.
Yeah. So were there any, collaborations on the album that I guess that you were, pretty proud of or anything of that nature?
Um, Collaborations I was proud of. I would say the goal of the album was to be as much of me as possible, but I did have
Mm-hmm.
I would say Chrétien was a great help for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My dog Chrétien was a great help in that time of my life, just pushing me to be the star I knew I could be. I
Mm-hmm.
came to him a lot to like, bro, can you sing some of these hooks for me? Can you sing these things for me? He said, nah, bro, you have a good voice, you sing it. And I said, bro, don't lie in my face. But he pushed me, and when I recorded those things in vocals, I got a new sense of what I could do because I was limiting myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, just going back and forth to Crowd House, playing unreleased tracks, just bouncing ideas off of him. He was a good person just to be in my corner during that whole creative process. So I was most
Mm.
proud of that collaboration. Shout out to Craig. Good people.
Right. So let's talk about, limiting yourself and how do you often do you still fight with that battle of limiting yourself and thinking that your voice isn't good enough for this or you aren't that good of a musician with this and things of that nature. Talk about it.
Oh, for sure. Let's have a therapy session. I don't even know. I feel like I feel like it's a sense of I hate braggy and cocky people, so I don't want to be somebody that's over the top cocky about their ability. And
Hmm.
I'm so adamant about that that sometimes I humble myself too much, and I kind of humble
Hmm.
myself too much because I don't want to be that he's, doing too much person. Because, you see those artists who come in very cocky, very braggy. It's like, you so cocky and braggy, but, do you have your talent's not matching? I always had kind of like that bitterness.
Right.
For some people, I don't know. So
Right.
I also just feel like I'm a first generation musician in the family. There's nobody in my family and circle that I've seen do what I want to do. So it's kind of
Right.
like a what's the word? Uncharted territory. It's kind of fearful, not having any exemplars or role models in front of you. So I'm kind of like a trailblazer
Hmm.
in the sense of what I'm trying to do. But I think limiting myself is all a self-confidence thing. Like, do I trust myself and am I worthy? And I think self-confidence has been a battle, of course, forever. But I think I've had great growth though. Great growth. I feel like
Hmm.
it's an ever-ending battle, but I'm very open about it. I'm not always confident in my abilities, but then some days I really am. So it's just a thing of just pushing myself and also just stepping back and, that's why it's good to have music because you can go back to your files and like, wow, this is actually a good song, Like actually I had
Yeah.
one moment like I thought was a bad song, but I come back to it years later, like, wow, this was a quality record. Like it's all in the mental,
Hmm.
because I have good friends, good support systems. Like they wouldn't lie to me if a song wasn't hitting, they'll share their opinion. But
Yeah.
I rarely miss though, because like I'm very passionate and competitive about my craft. So the limitness is it's a battle. I ain't gonna lie, it's not over with. It's a battle, but we're getting better. We're getting progress for sure.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
day, every.
so has there ever been a time I can say I guess in your life or throughout this thing that we call creativeness has there been a time where you reach creative block?
Creative block. Um, I would say that I tell myself it's a block when I force it. Because I feel like sometimes you can
Mm-hmm.
force creativity. Let me sit down and make
Mm-hmm.
a beat. I could make it. I could make the beat. And every time I do those things, I make the music, but I know it's not my best. I know it's not genuine. So I feel like I don't have
Yeah.
blocks. I kind of just wait to be inspired sometimes. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like everything's written. I'm in good hands. Everything's already written for me. So, just trust the process. Just keep being a good person. I just let things come to me sometimes. So I wouldn't say
Mm-hmm.
block. I've never been in like a block because I'm very competitive. I can't slack. I gotta stay in the gym if I want to be, with the top dogs. Beyonce don't take
Yeah.
breaks. She don't take breaks. She may not,
Yeah.
create every day, but I know she's singing covers. But I feel like enjoying life is a part of the creative process too. Not making music and just having experiences, going on dates, doing things to pick from and pull from. So when it's time to write, it's time to do something. So I feel like
Living life,
the block
literally.
is not real to me. You just taking a step back to be inspired, in my theory.
Yeah. Do you think that's a pro of yours with being an independent artist? Being able to take your time on things and not be able to rush and force things. And if it is a pro, what do you think some cons is to being an independent artist?
Definitely pros and cons. Let's start with the good things, of course, first.
Mm-hmm.
Independent artists, you have full creative control. Can't nobody tell you what to make, how to make it. And I think I'm very
Mm-hmm.
proud of myself. A big pro is I took the time to learn how to make a record by myself because it's a lot of hands go on a record. You have the producer, gotta have an engineer, somebody to mix and master, somebody to record it
Mm-hmm.
correctly. So it took a long time for me to get quality music all by myself. It's a skill form. You have to learn how to be an engineer. You have to learn how
Yeah.
to be a producer, how to learn how to write. So because I can do all those things by myself, that's a strong pro. That's a strong pro. That's your dog bothering you. My dog sleep right here. I'm so surprised he sleep.
Is is so are
That's
you
the
able to I'm sorry, go ahead with the
pros and
cons.
cons, yeah. So the pros of independence, definitely nobody's rushing you. It's on your timing. But however, that you can get too comfortable. You can forget that, we're against content creators. Like that's our battle. You're battling for attention on social media. So you have to be
Yeah.
consistent enough to constantly have your brand, constantly have your music out there. And as a creative who likes to be inspired and wait, it's a clash. It's like, dang, I gotta force myself to sit here, record, and post every week, when, that's not how the natural process is for some artists. But,
Yeah.
it's about discipline, though. If you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen. So I feel like,
Yeah.
it's about discipline too. And I think the only one con about independent artistry that's just real is the money, bro. It takes a lot of money to break a record. Like I studied music industry for a long time. Like you want to get active marketing, you want good marketing, you want good promotions, it's gonna cost you. You got to pay for
Mm-hmm.
content, you got to pay for ads, you got to pay for marketing people that help book shows. So that's my next step, just finding ways to save money, invest money so I can have that stat. Because you can have a great record, but if you don't have the money to push the record, you're not gonna compete
Then it's
well.
just a sitting record. Yep.
It
Yeah.
can go viral. I'm not gonna pray for a viral moment. I'm gonna, force that viral moment with consistency,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Yeah. And going back to discipline, that's very important because for me today, specifically for me today, before I met with you, I recorded a video and I was telling the person, my LB that's helping me record today, I was like, I'm tired. Like I'm beat. Like other than me, filming, I film every Saturday. Other than that, I work
Yeah.
Sunday through Saturday. So it's like from working every day to, doing this. And to me, for me, this is like a second job. But the fact that I'm disciplined and the fact that I'm dedicated to whatever my outcome is going to be, I feel like that's more important than me being tired. I'd rather, put out a video that isn't the best than put out no video at all. You get what I'm saying? So I feel
Yeah.
like discipline is very much so important. So have you found, times where, you weren't that dedicated to it to where your discipline slacked as well?
For sure. I think the biggest, not the biggest mistake, but the biggest, I realized that, you know, there can be healthy and unhealthy distractions to your career
Hmm.
life. I know where I'm trying to go. I know the steps that I need to get there. And I had to realize what was distracting me. Or what I allowed myself to be distracted by. That's a better way to say it. So I think
Hmm.
my first realization was I realized that, being in relationships was a big distraction for me.
Yeah.
It sucks because you don't want to, it's good to be in a relationship, have that security, but I wasn't as productive as I should have been because I allowed myself to just spend more time with, those relationships than my craft. So now that I've been, living this bachelor life and just trying to find those balances, I realized that my discipline slacked when I was, trying to be, somebody husband, but not with, acting like a husband, was taking a lot of my time and discipline away. And that was a
Yeah.
big. Now I'm trying to just find my system, find my routine. Cause I have an alarm on my phone at 9:30 every day that says get in the studio, work on something. So like I literally
Hmm.
have a on my phone it buzzes 9:30 and 10 o'clock every day to do something musical. Either I practice an instrument, write a song, work on a beat, just do something every day to keep myself strong. Cause I realized that
Yeah.
without my phone, I would slack. And I'm not the most consistent when it comes to everything. We're all a work in progress. So using my phone has definitely helped me. But relationships can be distracting. So my next wife just got to know that there's got to be a balance. I'm married to the music and the shoes. We're gonna have to share. That's just the biggest thing they got to realize. We got to share that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's real. Okay, so switching the gears again, when it comes to you performing, do you have you found yourself to be, more of a performer than a studio artist, or more of a studio artist than a performer, or have you found that silver lining with both of them?
That's a good question. Um, I would say that performing gives me the ultimate adrenaline. Like there's no bigger rush than performing on the stage. I love it so
Yeah.
much. So like when it's like I have a show coming up September 17th. So what's today, the second? So like it's like what, maybe 2 weeks away. It's coming up
Yeah.
quick, and I have to. I'm bringing my musicians with me, so I have to make sure that my musicians are comfortable to perform with me. But when it comes to performances, like I'm in it every day. Like I have a training method. Like I'm doing vocal warm ups. Like I'm really committed to it because performing it gives me the ultimate rush. I feel like I'm a performer at heart ever since I was young, whether I'm on the instrument or I'm singing or rapping, like performing is just that's my specialty. Like I know how to prepare for it. I know that's like my gift from God Himself. So when it's time to perform,
Yeah.
I'm in there. There's no doubt about it. Of course, I'll be nervous, but that all goes away when that first note hits. So performing is definitely
Hmm.
that's my top thing. Studio artist as far as vocally, oh, I'm very, very picky with myself. Can't lie. I'm an overthinker in general, but in the studio, like, I don't have I record myself because recording me, it's a headache for sure. I'm just very picky, very detailed. I gotta have the perfect take, and it takes time. I don't have I'm not a vocally trained person. Some people was in
Hmm.
choir, choir, big things to help do them. I'm a musician at heart. So when it comes
Hmm.
to laying down instruments, oh, I love it. Cake. I love recording instruments. But vocally in the studio, I got work to do. But when it comes to performing
Hmm.
though, performing is that's my baby. I could do that all day, every day. So that's why, I
Hmm.
can't just be a producer in the back when God gave me the gift to perform, I have to use it. And I have something to say. I have good energy. So I can't neglect the gifts, trying to be all cool in the background. So I think,
Yeah.
performing is a point and I gotta get stronger. I gotta get stronger with both. But when it comes to performing though, I got it, hands down. I make it happen.
Yeah, that's real. Well, we've actually reached the end of it. I don't know. I love talking to you. I feel like if I could have
That's a
more
good
questions
question.
to no, for real, if I had more questions to ask, I would, because this was a good conversation
Well,
for real.
let me
But
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question if I can.
yeah, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Well, one, I just got to shout out the praise to your quality, the quality of what you put out. Like people got to understand the details. It takes details to get that quality, man. You have the quality. I really appreciate
Thank
your
you.
details. And we as symphonians, we care about the art, so I understand. It's a symphonian thing. But
It's a symphonian thing.
my question is, I want to say, what could you, what gem could you give me with consistency?
Mm.
consistency and discipline. Cause like you said, you were tired today, didn't want to shoot. Sometimes I let the fatigue get me. I say, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to
Mm-hmm.
rest. And I talk myself
Mm-hmm.
out of it. But I did write a verse about it and I spit that verse to myself a lot. But what do you tell yourself? What do you get helping to like push you to get into it? Even though you don't feel like it, what's your push?
Honestly, it's my dream. Like anytime I get tired or anytime I have like that mindset or I don't want to do this today, I always think about what made me want to do it from the beginning.
Hmm.
And that's with anything, like whether it be, with my weight loss journey or even when it was with me in school, I always think about what made me start this thing because I hate starting things and not finishing it. So me with this, I would hate to start this and not get to whatever my end goal was.
Right.
So, I want this, of course, to be, this household thing. I want people to be able to tune in like the Terrell show. I want people to tune in every week and anticipate, the artists that I have coming onto the show. I want that for me. And because I'm not at that level yet, it's like, why am I,
Right.
why
Yeah.
do I need a break?
Now.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's no need for a break yet because I'm not at the level where I want to be. So I think that's what really motivates me. Um, and then another thing is like I always in the back of my head, I know that there's no one else doing what I'm doing like how I'm doing it.
Come
So it's
on.
like if I won't do it, then who else will? You get what I'm saying? Because even when I'm watching the Terrell show or the Zach Campbell show or things of that nature, I sit back and I watch. I'm like, you know what? I can do what they're doing. Not that I can do it better, but I can add my own little flair to
Right.
it. And there's no one
Awesome.
that's going to be able to bring to the table what I could bring to the table. So that's, and I guess the thought of whatever I'm bringing to the table not being at the table, if I don't bring it is also like a constant thought. So yeah, really just remembering my dream and knowing that can't nobody do what I'm doing like how I'm doing it, honestly, truly. Even though
True.
you said the quality, there's so many things that I want to fix with the quality, but the fact that you've recognized the quality and it makes me happy because it lets me know that the people are seeing the little changes, the
Yeah.
little things. So yeah, I appreciate that for sure.
Like I said, when it comes
100%.
to quality, I know, trust me, I feel we have the same kind of mindset where like we know we could do better. Like mind you, we know we could do better, but I saw this one girl on Instagram. She said, "Bro, can you just stop and acknowledge your growth?" And that shit had me just like tearing up. Like wow, like I never stop. Like I'm always on
Yeah,
go,
because you're always focused on
always focused on getting to
improving
the
and
next
getting better and
thing.
getting better. Yeah,
Like I had a good I threw my own concert this summer. We sold out this year. Like tickets were all bought. I was
that's amazing.
but there were some things I could have did better. Some things didn't go well. I could have improved on so many things, but I never stood back and just said, "Wow, at least you did what you did." Of course, you didn't make a
Hmm.
lot of money, but people came out to support you. That's a win.
Hmm.
You know, the venue was booked, the venue was packed. That's a win. So I think
Yeah,
we could have better because we're always on go. We see our vision. Like I see my vision. I see it in the back of my head, and I know I got
yeah,
to get there. But I know we also just got to take a step. Sometimes let's just take a step. Let me just watch my episode last week and just acknowledge my growth. So I think we could both just
yeah,
take a step back, acknowledge the growth that we've had. Because like you go back to your first episode, I bet you it's different from what you have right now,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
a win. As long as you're not staying stagnant, we're winning, bro. So you keep
That's
growing.
real.
You keep supporting that growth too. I got you.
That's real. I appreciate that. But wow, I appreciate that for sure. 100%. Before we go, I do have one more question for you, okay? I asked this question to all of my artists that I'm interviewing. If you were stuck on an island with only 3 albums, what
Mm.
3 albums are you choosing?
I always ask people those questions. I never ask myself that question. I always ask one album, but 3 albums is a better question. Uh, I would have to say Baduism. That has to be an album on repeat.
That
Badu,
that has
Badu,
to be an album. Yeah.
that album just makes me. It's literally a peaceful album. How could you not be peaceful?
Hmm.
So I gotta have Badu. Hmm. I'm gonna have to have songs in the key of life. Oof.
Hmm.
And I'm a, and I'm gonna have to have the best of Anita Baker. Just all her best, greatest shit.
Yeah,
All her greatest.
yeah.
I don't think I like a full album of hers. I still love her though. Like, I need Sweet Love. I need Caught in the Rapture. I need 365. You know, I
Her
need
hits, yeah,
all of her hits. And I think those three.
yeah,
I didn't have no rap in there. Dang, but it's okay. I would say
yeah.
maybe I would say Swimming Mac Miller though. I'm sorry. Let me replace Stevie. No, I can't. Let me just add Swimming by Mac Miller in there too. One of
Okay.
my favorite rap albums for sure.
Yeah, that's a good little bunch of albums. Yeah, I like that for sure. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning into the Jay Pleasant Show. Again, I'm Jay Pleasant. Evan, I'm sorry, Blaze. Tell the people where they could find you. Plug yourself in. Tell the people, tell them about your show that you have coming up. Let the people know about you.
Yeah, man, it's been an honor to be on the show today. This your man Blaze, B1AZE. You can see me on Instagram at B1AZE, Blaze Burn It Up. I'm on YouTube as well, B1AZE. I got some shows coming up. September 17th, I'll be at the Houston Media Festival, performing live there with my band. I'm just grateful to be on the show. Keep growing, keep the love going, and Symphonia, baby.
Period. Well, again, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All of the information about Blaze will be in the comments down below. Please make sure you turn on the post notification bell to get notified for more beautiful videos just like this one. And as always, I will see you in the next. That was good.
I feel so good. I feel so good. I feel so good. I feel